supported by the Dutch government, together with File Festival and Centronics Algorithm Perfumery.
This image is an image of algorithmic perfumery. That is my latest work. It works by answering a questionnaire, and then you have to smell a number of things, and then after that you get a unique code, and then you have to type in that unique code, and then the machine and the artificial intelligence will create a unique custom perfume.
And I also work a lot with installations and VR. It's called eTech Kitchen. During the performance, we work with rituals, food, sound and scent, which you can also imagine is quite a challenge in this time. So basically, we translated the performance to an online performance, and we also used objects and food that people could easily have access to or have in their house. Of course, a lot went wrong technically, but the audience was kind of in the experiment, and it was really interesting to explore. The limitations we live in now can also inspire into very new projects, which I think is really interesting.
I think this time, in the COVID time, turn a public space into an art piece, I think could be a really nice approach as well. We turned the bungee jump into a sound installation by throwing a church bell from it. That was something I thought, like, why don't we see much more of these kind of interventions during this time?
I started to make installations to get less stressed, I think. And it was a huge pressing machine. It's an installation where there's almost full body contact. Like, hygienically wise, it was a challenge before COVID. I did some research after that, and then I developed a new installation and where you get vacuumed in a space and you travel in the space and to get a physical experience. That's also not gonna work in COVID time.
How does this situation affect your practice?
I was asked, can you please translate this to online or to and that's just impossible. But it can become something completely different or new.
And I actually find it super interesting to investigate what is the essence of the experience, and are you able to translate that into a different context?
I want to make a performance or an act that is also activate you, not only as a viewer. And that's why I started my presentation with this example of this breathing thing.
So how can we connect these, the online and the offline? And what I now am very excited about is the challenge to how can you create this connectiveness?
So I think we all have something to think about, all of this conversation. We have a second meeting, and then we will just give a feedback and exchange more and go a little bit further from here, okay?
What is algorithmic perfumery? It is an installation. It's a new media art installation where, by filling in a questionnaire and smelling a number of samples, people, by the use of artificial intelligence, people are able to create their own custom perfume. Is it possible to make a COVID-proof version of the installation?
To avoid the contact with the machines, I would put more staff people from you. with the staff, you would prevent all the people to contact the machine, and a lot of washing hands and alcohol to clean the hands. And about this distance, we call the social distance, the space between the people, maybe I would increase from, it's not a magic number, but I would increase from 1.5 to 3 meters between them.
It's not more in the old days that you could just walking around the rooms and go ahead and go back, and no, we're not going anymore. You have a route and you have to follow the route inside of the museum. Should have markers. Okay, this is step 1 when you get your phone and answer the questions. So you go to the step 2 and the next one comes. Very, very controlled and organized. It must be. Allow people to schedule their time to go. I think it's gonna work, and it's important to show to everybody that everything are doing the right way.
It was very fruitful for me to hear all that. I think, I mean, I had an idea, but now it's very clear, that we're gonna have a lot of more work to do to open an exhibition.
Shall I go over what were our main takeaways? First of all, basically no physical interaction. So basically everything needs to be done on mobile. It is actually possible to make the airflow much stronger, so that even at like 70 or 80 centimeters, you can still have an airflow. So you need to have work with time slots. So basically people are allocated in a time slot. So that should be part of the online experience. What if you are totally not able to enter any space? Can you then still do the experience? How would that work? And so what we have is basically you do the questionnaire and then you will get a link, basically a time. It's saying, like, for instance, right now it's here 15:35, and then it will say 15:36. You will have a live feed. And basically we have now what we have designed is a system that allows for really multiple users to look at the installation. We've been, the last few weeks, we've been working really hard on a few things. So one of them is making the system COVID-proof for the smelling station. So we got a lot of feedback on that. The other thing, what is an important part of what we discussed, is if we would go for a completely online version, how can you make the interaction from the audience with the machine as tangible as possible? And for this, we had the idea of this camera system set up. And there were a few questions around it because
Wow, nice.
But you have the choice to play with the interaction. And then so in the end, your film ends when your bottle is being put into a small box, and then that's the end of your basically of that moment. You have to create a login. So when you access, if you have your password and your email, then automatically it will take you to your file. I mean, the idea of this work that you can interact with it. I really get excited about it in this sense.
As you guys have got the white paper, the draft of the white paper, so you saw a little bit what we have been doing.
What we were planning to do is find ways to make the experience fully online. It's like we have it now. The whole machine is filled with all small, just webcams, and these are very, simple webcams, and they're placed on different angles on the machine. But what was the cool thing is what we saw happening is that there was a live stream as well, and then people. So on one hand, the viewer could choose what camera he or she is watching. And then the other people would see whose perfume was going to be made, what was put in at that time. So we had a visual overlay.
Surely an interesting point, even when Corona is not here anymore, or we solved all these problems. I think there's quite some things which can be interesting for future exhibits in new media terms.
But there's also new work that starts to be created in the context of these lockdowns, with great examples that are not so much work translated, but also new work based on the situation or built for the situation. To also see how the creative industry also adapts and changes, also sees possibilities.
Still, there is a lot of opportunity to do in public space, I think. Anyway, like the field we are in is quite a niche as well. I mean, the stuff we do won't attract immediately 10,000 people or something like that.
But it was a work that was really fitting in the COVID times, a real physical experience with 15 people, an hour, and it was more a theater play than basically an installation or an artwork. So it was a mix between theater and experience, and I really like that in COVID time because there's nothing to do, but this was possible.
I wanted to also add to this discussion that I also think it's, as part of art, that you kind of reflect or give your audience a way to reflect on current situations that we are in. So to me, it also makes sense that it becomes also work, to use the screen that we are looking at constantly as part of a work.
When we started to make File at the beginning, it was only about online and screening. All that we wanted was get out of the screen and show works that were not on the screen, And now that we were really setting up, showing this kind of works, this COVID things came and everything came all about screen again. So that's it. So thank you guys. Keep in touch. Gonna share with you everything. Get in
Enjoy
touch.
the summer.
Yeah. Enjoy the winter and let's meet after all this somehow.
Okay, good idea.
Yes.
Good idea.
Ciao, ciao.
Nice meeting you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice